If you are a woman and you have women friends, some of your friends may never respect you for the simple fact that you are not a man. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed psychotherapist. I have been counseling victims of abuse as well as perpetrators of abuse for several years. And there's a lot of discussion around male-centered women, but let's break it down in terms of why male-centered women are dangerous both on a psychological and potentially a physical level. And one of the phenomenons that happens with male-centered women is that if they have friends or women friends that they associate with, they will spend a lot of time emotionally dumping, meaning that they're telling all of their problems to some of their friends. Meanwhile, and their friends are sort of being supportive and offering a listening ear. But, you know, when it comes to reciprocity in the relationship, they're often not able to give that. They can tend to be very shallow emotionally when it comes to pouring back into their women friends. A lot of times women who emotionally support male-centered women will often provide solutions and great advice, and that can go over a male-centered woman's head many times because that advice that that woman is giving them is not coming from a man. And so what you will find in male-centered women is that they will often follow what men tell them, regardless of how it may disadvantage them or what sort of predicaments what sort of predicaments advice from men may do to their well-being. So essentially, a male-centered woman would rather listen to anything that a man tells her and follow his direction versus any sort of wisdom and knowledge and, just practicalities that comes from a woman who is actually considering her best interests. Why this is psychologically harmful is that for many women who have male-centered women friends, they often feel invisible to women who are very male-centered. It's like, well, damn, do you not see me? Do you not hear me? Why don't you listen to me? Why don't you show up for me? Why don't we ever do fun things together, right? Because a lot of times the relationship becomes one-sided because you become a dumping ground to listen to all of the problems that this woman has due to or because of a man, right? You're doing the emotional labor because she can't go to that man and won't go to that man and try to problem solve. So in essence, you help to keep her in that relationship with a man that's dysfunctional. And that man could be her father, it could be her brother, it could be her lover, it could be any number of men in that woman's life. She's never going to go and tell them or try to work out the problems with them directly, but she will dump on you and have you sort of clean up her emotional mess like a servant. Now, on the other hand, and then she offers nothing in return to you. You may even find that if you are around her when men are ever in the picture, she may become jealous or competitive with you, or may see you as a threat to the male attention and validation that she could be getting, if that makes sense. On the other hand, where this becomes a physical danger is when male-centered women are responsible for children. So when they become mothers, when they become older sisters or aunts, and they have to watch children who are in their care. So a lot of times back in the old days, and I think I've spoken about this before, I'm sure, especially if you grew up in a black household or something of that nature, and maybe even not even that, but just if you grew up in a household and where there were men present, it's not uncommon for women in that back in the old days to say, you need to go upstairs and put on clothes, men are coming over, or you need to make yourself a little bit more decent, or you need to do this, when you know that men that are potentially sexually predatory men are coming over and they're going to be around young children. So again, just to close up this loop a little bit, these women can become predatory when they're caring for children, or when they're caring for other people that may be vulnerable, and they're telling them, hey, I don't feel safe around this man, or something happened to me due to this man. And so these women tend to not believe anybody, or she may be more apt to believe the man who is predatory and or violent towards either the female or the child or whatever, because she has conditioned herself to only listen to the men, even at the cost of everyone else, even at the cost of everyone's safety or well-being, including her own. She will, just sort of block out everything and almost sort of blindly follow what a man tells her. And I think that that's why, even across social media, you see it. And I think this has come up a lot more recently lately, where there's like all these women that give like great advice and great tips, but the men are always going to have a huge following, for the simple fact that a woman will only believe that it's true if it's coming from a man's mouth. And men know that, and they are monetizing and benefiting off of that, because they know all they have to do at bare minimum is parrot what a woman says, and suddenly what they say becomes liquid gold, even though that woman may have heard that message 1,000 times before from other women. She's only going to listen to it when it becomes a man, and that's when she feels validated, she feels comfortable taking that message and utilizing it, and just sort of, and again, it doesn't even have to be great advice. It doesn't have to even be phenomenal advice. It just has to be something coming from a man's mouth. And even at the cost of her own detriment, a male-centered woman will always follow that. And she will be blindly loyal to a man, even at the cost of her family and friends. And that, my friend, is why male-centered women are very, very dangerous.